Some people have asked me to review the ethical and critical thinking questions that are going to be due. So I'm going to go through these questions again and what I'm looking for. There's also a rubric on Blackboard, so you can look on there. It's under you click on the assignment, ethical thinking assignment, and you'll see right there's a little box that says view rubric. Click on that, you can see the rubric, so you have an idea what I am looking for. Okay, so for number one, what you're looking for is the ethical dilemma, which I pretty much gave you, is who should get the vaccine for the coronavirus once it's developed. Again, remember you have 330 million U.S. citizens, and in our scenario, you only have 280 million vaccines. So you're going to have to make choices. So who should get the vaccine? And then you need to talk about why this is an ethical dilemma. If we had enough vaccines for everybody, it wouldn't be an ethical dilemma. So you need to discuss why this is an ethical dilemma and why people are going to need to go through these questions and figure out who's going to get the vaccine. Now, when we first started this, I didn't expect we'd be where we are, but this is actually a real question that's going to have to be answered once they do have a vaccine for the virus. Then you look at your 8 key questions. Those questions I handed out at the beginning of the semester, and I will also put a copy of them on Blackboard. Which ones do you find most important when looking at this particular question? Remember, you don't want to have to look at all 8 questions. So for this specific question, which of those are most important to you when you're answering this question and why? And then number 3, you're going to give me your viewpoint on the issue. So you're going to talk about who's going to get the vaccine first, whether it's based on age, whether it's based on professions, whatever way or method you are thinking is the best way to figure out who's going to get the vaccine. Give me your viewpoint. Who's going to get it first, blah, 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 who's going to wait till the end, those kind of things. And then you can discuss how your answers to those 8 key questions determined the order or who was going to get the vaccine, and just as important, who didn't get the vaccine initially as the vaccine comes out. So number 4, remember I cut that back. It only needs to be 1 paragraph. So you just need to think about why you're thinking the way you do. So what life experiences have you had? What has happened? What have you seen? What have you heard? What have you done that has that explains or makes you think that the way you do about the answer to this question. Number 5 is where you're going to use some references. So what factual information supports your viewpoint? Now, the facts on coronavirus are changing daily, but you can go out and you can find some research. I showed you a graph. Figure out some facts that they already know and how that is affecting or how it is causing you to believe what you believe about who should get the vaccine first and who should wait. Again, the information changes day to day, but I am going to be looking at your references to make sure that they are valid. So you can't pull something off a site that is not a valid site. The CDC, government sites, state sites, science sites, education sites are valid. So the data you use may change by the time you submit this, but what I'm looking for is I'm not going to penalize you for that, but I'm looking that you're using valid factual information to support your viewpoint. Which stakeholders support your viewpoint and how do their answers to the key questions influence their viewpoint? Remember this question. Think about it. So if you choose to save a group of people, or not save, I shouldn't say that. You choose to give a group the vaccine. Who is going to be affected by them getting the vaccine? Those are the stakeholders I want you to focus on. So if you tell me that teachers should get the vaccine first, that's fine, but I don't want you to tell me teachers are stakeholders because they're getting the vaccine. I want you to tell me which stakeholders are going to be affected by who you give the vaccine to. So for teachers, and I'm not necessarily, there's no right or wrong answer here, you would be protecting who by giving the teachers the vaccine. So for stakeholders, I want the stakeholders who are going to be influenced by who you give the vaccine to. Do not restate the people that you're giving the vaccine to as the stakeholders. Number 7, if your viewpoint was accepted by society, what would be the positives and negatives for society as a whole and all the stakeholders. So remember, an ethical question has more than one right answer. So there are going to be positives to your viewpoint and there are going to be negatives to your viewpoint and who you choose to give the vaccine to. So you need to look at that and you need to talk about these are the positives, these are the negatives. It's the negatives that I will be looking at because I want you to understand that with every choice you're making that there are negative consequences. No ethical question has one right answer that's perfect. So make sure you're focusing on that. And then for number 8, describe a viewpoint on the issue that differs from yours. So what's a different order or a different choice you could make in terms of who's going to get the vaccine? Explain the facts that support that viewpoint with the different people getting it, the stakeholders that'll be affected, and the strengths and weaknesses of that different viewpoint or the different way that you're going to give out the vaccines. So again, it's not going to be your viewpoint. It's going to be a different viewpoint. So think of different ways, a different way that vaccines could be given, and then talk about the positive and negative of that. So this is probably the most relevant assignment you could be doing right now. If you're following the news, they are talking about the development of a vaccine. So in maybe 8 months or a year, hopefully faster, this question may be out there. This question may be out there and who's going to get the vaccine. So it's going to be interesting for you to think about this, and then you'll see, hopefully in the near future, how society actually chooses to do this and to give the vaccine to people. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, you can get on the discussion board that is on Blackboard, or you can text or email me. Okay, thank you.